we were to come together and that these gatherings would begin. Now, they'd given me information, and that again starts to step into what I believe has to do with the indigenous people of the earth because of what these beings told me. And they said that in the, quote, end times, that there would be many changes that would take place. So they're on many different levels. They're not just one. And it's not simple to describe these things. I was told that one of them would be on a spiritual level. Changes would begin to take place. On a physical level, changes would begin. And also on an earth basis, for the earth itself, that changes would happen. So all of these things were sort of being correlated and being written by humanity itself in the path that we are to take. For example, that there were the possibility that war would break out, for example. This is something that really disturbs me. It scares me. It upsets me. And even as I say this, I could cry. Because, and I might just cry.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
Because if anyone were to have lived the life that I have for the past 20 years, to have had the experience after experience after experience, confirmation after confirmation after confirmation of all of these things, they too would not hesitate in anything to help in whatever way they could to stop this process. Because we have a responsibility. As human beings, I was told that we have a responsibility to do what we can to save this earth. We're not the saviors of the earth. We're supposed to be the caretakers of the earth. We're here to be the stewards of this land. That is part of why we are here, to be able to experience one another and the earth itself. But the way that we are living our lives based in things like greed as being the primary focus for most people, we've forgotten about why it is that we're supposed to be here to begin with. And that is the beauty of each other and of this land. And one of the things that I always ask people, every single person, and I say to them, you really need to ask yourself this question. Are you happy? It's a very simple question. The answer is what gets very complicated. Because as it was explained to me by these beings, humanity was on a path, a collision course. And if we didn't change it, this was going to be the end result. Destruction. In whatever form. Whether it was going to be a meteor hitting the earth, or whether it was going to be war breaking out, or whether it was going to be famine, or there was going to be earth changes that took place, any of these things, that man had the ability to change this timeline of what it was that was going to be coming. Now, people have said to me, well, you're trying to, create a prophecy, or you're talking about prophecy. But here's the thing. For anyone out there that understands even remotely the smallest amount of this is easy to understand what it is that's happened here. We've been given a gift, a very special gift, and that is the gift of seeing beyond where we currently are. Now, if we stay on the same path, they've said this is going to be the end result. But the gift is, if we can change the course that we have been on, then all of these things will be averted. And they will not happen. So this is the reason for the book. This is the reason that I've come forward. Because I don't want to be talking to you. I really don't. I wish I could put on mask and not be here. But I am, because in my heart, in my mind, in my entire being, I know that we are on a path that is frightening. And some people get scared I'm not scared. These tears are not fear. These tears are very much sadness, because I have seen the future through them with their assistance. So I hope that we will be able to come together as humanity to change that. And I believe that we still can. I don't think that it's possible at this point in time to stop everything. I think that we have come to a time where it has become apparent, and is becoming more apparent every day, that we are on a collision course in many different areas. Our food supplies have, in the course of the last year, become scarce in certain areas in the world. Things like rice, mad cow disease, the avian flu, the list goes on. These things are all becoming apparent to everyone in the world. Fuel, the cost of fuel, gas prices affecting everyone in the world. But all of these things can be changed very easily. And that is how we are going to change the earth, with helping one another.
Okay, so you have a mission, and you're on your mission, and here we are. This is October, actually not October, this is September of 2008,
Yes.
right? And it's a beautiful world outside my door today. However, there are a lot of things going on right now as we speak. The American economy is going in the tank. There is possible war with Iran, right? You know, behind our backs could be happening, could be gearing up. And there are other things as well. So how is this impacting your sense of what you're doing, what your set, you know, sort of your set mission, and what the next milestones are, if you will, that you're planning to get to?
That's, considering that this is 2008, it's a very interesting question for me, because it has been, I don't even know how many years, and I don't even know if it relates back to 1988, but at some point in this course of my life, in the last 20 years, 2008 has been a year that has stuck with me, because I have known for years that between August of 2008 and November 2008, that there would be major changes on the earth. And what I mean is, I'm not talking about changes of the earth itself, but of the people, and maybe in some form it would have something to do with the United States. Now, I made this very public statement in January of this year. I said that these things were coming, and that they would involve the United States, and what the United States did and what happened here would affect the entire world forever. So, considering that the American economy is doing as it is, and the price of oil that does have to do with the United States in part, we are at the beginning of a flow that is not going to be easily rectified, if at all. So what people need to understand is that these things were told to me years and years and years ago. And so what I'm saying is 2008, there's going to be economic repercussions across the earth that are never going to be fully recovered. So that's the first change. I've also seen that there are the possibilities of changes taking place on a global scale, of things that are more geared towards the political structure of the earth in the next probably 4 to 6 months, that there were going to be some changes that were going to be taking place around this time. So that finishes off 2008. It's like a precursor to what's to come. Now, the other year that I'm concerned with, and I've had great concern over since 1988, is not 2012, as people have often asked me. 2012 to myself, in the knowledge that I've been given by these beings, is not a specific date for me to be even thinking about. However, the year 2010 is. So what is coming in 2010? I'm often asked this. And all I know is that there is the potential of great destruction all over the earth. Can I say that that's war? No, I will not say that. Can I say that it is a meteor coming? I cannot say that. What I am saying is that humanity has a role to play in how this turns out in 2010. So let's say that 2010 rolls around and nothing happens. You know what? I am not going to sit here and say, oh, I was wrong. I am going to be clapping in glee that we have averted what it is that I have seen for all this time. So it is never too late. The 11th hour is going to be the 11th hour until the moment that it happens. So we always have time. We always have the ability to change something. And I believe that from all of this knowledge that I've learned and all of these things that have been shown to me, I know that we have the ability to work together to make changes on the earth that are going to be lasting, that will bring back the happiness and joy that we came here to be able to experience, that will put a structure in place for our families and our communities that is geared towards caring for one another and for the earth itself. And this particular time that we're in right now is critical, that we begin to understand that we need to take responsibility on an individual basis, that we as individuals do have the power to change the earth in a way that is going to be beneficial to our children, in a way that is going to be beneficial to the people that are coming after us. And people ask me, why is it and what is it that makes this time special? And it is because we are being given the choice of how our path is going to lead us and take us and where the end is going to be. If we decide that we are going to continue to be greed-filled, look into the future. It doesn't take much. You can see that there's no real way out of this situation that we're in unless we make some changes. So how do we do that? How do we make changes? And I tell people, very important. People that come here to Project Camelot, it's a prime example. It's called education. The most important thing that an individual can do is educate themselves. And I am not talking just about political issues or issues that have to do with extraterrestrials, but I'm talking about educate yourself as to who you are as a person. Educate yourself to how to live, how to build a home, how to grow food. Put your hands in the earth again so that you remember who you are, so that you remember where your food came from. That's education. It's talking about educating yourself in all the areas that you need. Spiritually, emotionally, physically. Look at how you're living, the choices that you're making. No one, including myself, are perfect. No one's perfect. But what we can do is when we are able to, we can make the right choices so that slowly we can make a world that is on the right path.
Okay, so you've come here, though, to Hopi land and Sedona and the Four Corners, and the mission is to gather the people, yes, if I understand it. Mm-hmm. And this is not just the Native American people. And can you talk about that a little?
I am going to share with you a little bit of what was told to me 20 years ago. When I was on board the craft, what I was told was to find the others like myself, to gather them together and bring them back to the safe lands. That a time would come when all of these people, meaning the people that I saw living from the, taken from the third world into the fourth world, and as well as the others, quote, like myself, that we would all come back together. And when this happened, there would be great changes that would take place on the earth for the better. So it is becoming clearer and clearer to me by the day now. See, it used to take years for things to come. And that's no longer the case. And that's a very key point. Because people have noticed that the world and the daily lives that they have, everything's changing. The way that we think, the way that we act. Some people are just seem to be floating through life while other people are just sort of going crazy. And they can't seem to hold their own selves and their own space. What's happening now is that this gathering that I was told about 20 years ago is beginning to form. And the people like myself there are people all over the earth that have had experiences similar to mine. And we are all waiting for the right time to stand up in unity, and come forward and speak to the world. Because when the world realizes that we are here, and that we are strong, and that we have been working in our own individual ways to better the earth and to better our societies, I believe that they will not have a choice but to look around and say, okay, what do we need to do? Because we aren't crazy people. People like myself are living very normal lives. And as I state in the book, we could be your best friend or your neighbor. We could be the principal at the school. We could be, we could be your governor or anything in life. You could even be married to somebody like me, and you may not know. But when the time comes, all of us will stand up together and come out of these closets that we've been living in to make our presence known on a global scale. So when people talk about this time where they're constantly asking me, oh, are these beings going to show themselves to us? Are they going to come out on a global scale? I tell them that it is my understanding that these tall blonde beings are here as the caretakers of this earth, and that they will not show themselves on a global scale en masse unless it is absolutely necessary to do so. Meaning, if there was some great cataclysm that was coming where the entire world would be wiped out, that they would then step in. But it is only then that they would do so. Now, we, people like myself, are the ones that could come out on a global basis and a global scale. And this is one of the questions I've been asked so many times, and this is a really important point for people to understand. That when they say they're going to come out, well, yeah, we're going to come out. We're going to come out of your homes and out of your schools and out of your political arenas and out of your preschools as your teachers. That's where we're going to come out first.
And doesn't it also, there's a really key ingredient which involves the children, and that the gatherings are actually going to send sort of a wave across the planet that's going to impact and stimulate all of the indigo children and all of the crystal children, whatever you want to call them, and they will suddenly know that the time is now because of this gathering, if I understand it.
You do understand it very well, and it is important to note that also. When these gatherings take place, and they have been, one can say that these gatherings have been taking place all over the earth already in small forms. What the great gathering is certain individuals, certain groups coming together of prominence, and of a prominence meaning nothing more than having certain knowledge. So people all over the earth with certain knowledge will come together, and when they stand together they will say certain things, and what it's going to do is it's going to send a message out to individuals, children, to young adults, to those people that are 70 years old. But it will send a message to everyone that's waiting. We all feel it. Everyone's felt it for a very long time. What are we waiting for? And it's like sitting in a chair getting all jittery. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for something. One of the things that they're waiting for is for this event to take place. That's what I believe, because that's what I was told 20 years ago, that it would be a wave that would sort of go out to these individuals and almost send a message to them, say, okay, you're not alone, let's wake up together and let's start standing up and be known en masse to the earth, because then there will be responsibility taken by individuals. But it will also mean that those people that are living in their homes in fear of coming out, that as we come out together, we will no longer be ridiculed by people, but we will have individuals saying, okay, teach me a little bit more about this path that you're on, because there's more than one side to this phenomenon. And I'm not here to talk to people or educate them about this darker side. What I'm saying is that this knowledge, this path, this understanding that I have from these tall blondes is truly about enlightening ourselves, to educating ourselves, to helping us to understand who we are and where we're from. And there is no hidden agenda. We may not have all of the answers. I may not have all of the answers. But if you put me in a room with a number of other people, we do have the whole picture. So to say that there's other things going on is not a fair assessment in my view. So it's important for all of us to come together to the earth en masse, and that will be happening, I hope, very soon.
Okay, now we have time for you to ask your question, and then we can also double back and cover some ground that we might have missed along the way. Okay?
I have a question which many people who are watching this would probably want me to ask, and that is that when you talk about the four worlds that were mentioned both by your extraterrestrial contacts and are present in the Hopi legend in the same form, can you match that against the traditional scientific thinking in terms of the fossil record, the evolution of man? Can you put any kind of a date on this? What does this actually mean to a paleontologist or an anthropologist? Are you able to answer that question, or is it just not known?
That is an interesting question to me, because the way that I can explain this is that when I was on board the craft, I was given knowledge. It was like saying that I had an education in many areas, okay? One of the areas was on the evolution of man and where we came from, where we're going. So in this, it was as though I went to, let's say, grade 3 or grade 4. So I have only a little bit of knowledge about these different worlds. I am not the expert, but I know that there's others like myself out there who would have far greater in-depth knowledge concerning this question. What became very clear to me in the visions that I was shown on this screen was that, for example, in the beginning, they said that it was like they threw the seeds of life across the land and waited for life to form, and nothing happened. So we were just, like worms in mud. This is the image that came into my mind.
So that's billions of years ago?
Yes, yes. Okay. In the second world, I was shown in the second world that this very grotesque life form was produced, and that they waited for it to evolve to see if it would be the right host for this spark of life, in whatever you would like to call it. I call it the spark of life, for this to be able to facilitate a spiritual life and a greater understanding of the universe. But this, in the second world, the life that was formed was very, very simple, is the word that came to me. It was very simple and basic and just really did not evolve. So for myself, when I look at that, of course, when I came back from this experience, and it took me a while to even be able to put all of this, associate it to the world, I clearly was able to see that this was the dinosaur age. Then in the third world, I was shown from above the